How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the show. I'm Xander. Welcome to This and That, where we're talking about this, that, and everything in between. Uh, Today has been a very eventful day. I was talking to you guys about how the internet had took a dump and how we were having issues with the internet negatively impacting our success. And just as sure as I told you that, the internet took a dump for 45 minutes and completely destroyed the podcast. So I had to restart the podcast because we never got to through the beginning of the podcast. I tell you what, this is hilarious. But this is what we've got to deal with these days, trying to make it make sense. So today we're supposed to be doing a show about, is China going to be one of the dominant places to trade in 2024 going into 2025? And I wanted to be able to share a lot of information with you guys that I had previously gathered. But since the computer doesn't function unless everything is functioning together, we just had to improvise. Back on track, dive into the numbers with me so that we can predict and see if China's really going to dominate the world trade going into 2025. Make sure that you guys like and subscribe. Make sure that you guys join the membership. Also, you guys throw some special likes, special thanks, and a few donations, and we could probably get that T-Mobile fiber. That way we'll be able to get some more stable and durable landlines around here instead of having to dwell on the inconsistency of broadband connection. As it stands right now, we're doing the best that we can, however we can, but we're gonna try to see if we can make it do what it do in a little bit more effective fashion. Let me see if I can get some picture in picture here, and that way we can go ahead and get started with rolling the dice. Okay. Kind of wish it was a flip, but we're still good. The Chinese economy growth has been on a it's been on a downturn for decades, and its rise to global trade in dominance has been nothing short of remarkable in recent times. As we head into 2025, the question everyone has on their mind is, will China finally surpass the United States to become the world's largest trading nation? The significance of this cannot be understated. Global trade has a direct impact on economies worldwide, and China's dominance would have far reaching consequences. So let's look at. Oh, give me just a moment. We are looking at the wrong page. There we go. For better or for worse. Now, first thing we need to look at is China's trade surplus. That's one of the things that we need to start talking about. China's trade surplus is approaching a record 1 trillion, reaching 786 billion in the first 10 months of 2024. So the trade surplus has more than doubled since 2018, reaching over 893 billion in 2023. So China's exports have increased by 3.8% year on year in the first half of 2024, reaching 1.7 trillion. This is surplus. This isn't debt. Keep in mind, the United States is $30 trillion in debt versus China, that is almost $2 trillion in profit, surplus. Now, the exports in the high tech sector, like integrated circuits, semiconductors, and automobiles, have shown impressive growth. China's share in container volumes at the world's 100 largest seaports rose to 41.3% in 2023, up from its 40.2% the previous year. China commands about 20% of global manufacturing exports, significantly higher than any other country. China holds a dominant position, over 50% of the world's exports, in almost 600 out of 5,000 products, uh, far surpassing any other country or even the entire uh, uh, economic union. That's actually pretty big. China now exports more goods to almost 170 countries and economies that it imports from them. So they have exports as well as imports in over 170 countries. The Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, has reinforced China's trade strategy, facilitating over 1 trillion in infrastructure investments in more than 140 countries. Despite its impressive growth, China faces several challenges that could potentially derail its trade ambitions. The ongoing trade tensions with the United States have led to tariffs, supply chain distributions, and a decline in exports. We just experienced how some of China's social media companies are being banned from United States Airways. China is also facing increasing competition from other emerging markets such as India and Vietnam, which are rapidly industrializing and positioning themselves as attractive alternatives. Additionally, the COVID 19 pandemic has exposed China's vulnerabilities in terms of its over reliance on exports and its inability to pivot quickly to domestic consumption. The country's demographics are also changing with rapid aging population and a shrinking workforce, which could affect its future growth prospects. This is one of the reasons why all of Asia has that incentive for expats to come over there and repopulate, because the majority of the population in Asia is over 60 years old. You have a very small minority between 30 and 55 years old. And then you have a pretty decent quantity of youth between um, 18 and younger that is not old enough to work yet. And that gap, you're looking at the loss of about a billion out of 4 billion population that is about to diminish because of the age gaps, and it's going to be due to their laws with limiting the number of children per family, which limits the number of repopulations. That all of that stuff played a role in this, but now they're undoing a lot of those laws because the 4 billion people that they have in their country, the 4 billion plus people they have in their country, is now starting to dwindle down because more than half of that is over the age of 60 years old. Another major hurdle for China is the rising scrutiny of its trade practices. The rising scrutiny of its trade practices took a hit when TikTok got sued by Arkansas because of their trade practices with social media and data collection. The country has been accused of intellectual property theft, forcing technology transfer, and unfair subsidies to its domestic industries. These concerns have led to increased pressure from the international community to form its trade practices and become a more responsible player in the global economy. So they're asking for China to play fair. They want China to reform and start putting themselves in on a more even and balanced playing field with the rest of the world. Furthermore, China's environmental and labor record has also come under fire, with concerns about pollution, worker exploitation, and human rights abuse. This is one of the reasons why, more often than not, you see accidents occurring from individuals that are overworked and underpaid, and they're falling asleep behind the wheel or passing out on the job in a dangerous location where them and or someone else is getting hurt as a result of the extreme fatigue of the workers. These issues have led to increased scrutiny from consumers, investors, and governments around the world, which could ultimately affect its ability to maintain its competitive edge in global trade. On the other hand, there are several factors that could influence China's trade dominance. The country has been aggressively investing in technology advancements such as artificial intelligence, 5G, which is what's interfering with our internet today, and renewable energy, which could give it a significant competitive edge in the future. Today, it sucks. Belt and Road Initiative, a massive infrastructure project aimed at connecting China with Central Asia, Europe, and other parts of Asia, could also help to increase its trade volumes and strengthen its economy ties with other nations. China's diplomatic efforts to strengthen its international relationships, particularly with countries in the Asian Pacific region, could also pay dividends in terms of increased trade and investments. China's massive domestic market would, with a population of over 1.4 billion people, is also a major advantage. As the countries continue to urbanize and move up the volume chain, its dominance, the domestic consumption of it, is expected to grow, providing a significant cushion against external shock, which means that they're going to be ready for the second COVID. They're not going to be ready for the next zombie apocalypse, though. Moreover, China's policymakers have been actively promoting the development of new industries, such as electronic vehicles, robotics, and biotechnology, which could help to drive future growth. So, with that, what do experts say? Will China indeed dominate world trade in 2024? According to recent reports by World Economic Reform, China is likely to overtake the United States as the world's largest trade nation by 2025 by driving its growing domestic market and strategic investments in emerging technologies. However, other experts argue that China still has significant structural challenges to overcome, including its over reliance on export, its demographic, and its environmental and labor record. Some experts point to the fact that China's trade growth has been slowing in recent years and that its share of global trade has actually declined since 2020. They argue that the country's trade dominance is not a foregone conclusion and that other nations such as the United States, Germany, and Japan could still challenge its position. With that being said, while China faces significant challenges, it also has a number of key advantages that could help it to dominate world trade by 2025, but more likely you'll see it by the end of 2025, beginning of 2026, where the country's technology prowess, its massive domestic market, and its strategic international relationships could all contribute to its continued growth and dominance. Now, I got to tell you, I've burnt the candle at both ends today, and this has been one of the toughest scenarios I have had to go over because it has kicked me in the teeth with this really drastic 5G network that is not operating in my favor today. So it took me half an hour for me to get half an hour worth of information out. And it took me half an hour to get here to get the half an hour worth of information out, which is what frustrates me the most today. So I'm going to smoke something, drink something, pop something, and I'm going to sit over here and think about how I'm going to make this a little bit more effective for tomorrow night's show. Normally, I would give you guys a nice long conversation, but today I am frustrated to high heaven. Also, shout out to Opus Clip because I'm editing a lot of my videos through Opus Clip. So I'm going to be throwing up some Opus Clip videos coming soon. I just want you guys to know that, all of the videos that I've been editing lately are starting to come from Opus Clip. So they're starting to make a lot more sense. The segments are starting to look better, shine up a little bit nicer, and they have affordable, reasonable prices. So I have Opus Clip in my tags in the description of this show after I turn it off, because I'm going to go in there and I'm going to have to rearrange some things and really get everything set up the way it needs to be. But it's not going to change the fact that you can click the link on any of my shows and see all of the information to Opus Clip, StreamYard, and vidIQ, which are three of the major collaborations that I utilize to create the show, create the script, and then also edit the show after the show has been made. I also use Perplexity to enhance the script with even more factual details that makes the script a little bit more meaningful, because vidIQ works on a 3 to 5 minute script that's more meaningful for short stories. I'm actually doing an hour plus long podcast, and vidIQ does not provide hour long lectures. So since I'm doing an hour long podcast, I combine Perplexity with vidIQ in order to give me a long enough script to more satisfy the knowledge and information that I'm trying to convey in a concise manner. Because otherwise I'd be bouncing all over the place, because I have multiple trains of thought going at the same time, and whichever train takes off from the station first, that's the one that I talk about. The one that takes off second, that's the one I straw man. And then we end up going from the original topic to like 13 topics down the line, which is why on This and That we talk about this, that, and everything in between. With that being said, I want to thank you guys for watching the show. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think? Do you think China is going to dominate the world trade in 2025 going into 2026 while Donald Trump is in office, or do you really think that America is going to maintain their position? Make sure you check out more of the other videos that we have. And if you want to have more insight into the world international trade economy, you want to make sure that you take a look at some of the other videos we got coming up for the rest of this week and going into next week, because as I explained before, we are going to be changing over a few of the fans that are going to be not fans. We're going to have guests coming into the show in the end of this week on Thursday and Friday, and they're going to be promoting some of their stuff. So we're going to be talking about ways to make money, ways to save money, ways to invest money. And these guys have products and services that you guys could potentially benefit from. So if you're trying to make yourself a small business, a medium business, or a large business, it's always good to come back to the podcast to get a lot of information that you need to make yourself the person that you want to be going forward. I can't believe that says almost 20. I would have sworn that it would have been 40. This would be the shortest podcast that I've ever done, because I got to tell you, the internet was not my friend today. It was not my friend today. The 5 towers in my neighborhood went down, and oh, I got to tell you, it has been a headache and a half. We're going to get this done. I did tell you guys that we're supposed to be going into a better location coming soon. So you just got to give us maybe a few more weeks, maybe a couple months, because we have yet to pick the location, because we're testing out the different areas to see which one has the better reception, since we are currently streaming and the fiber optics from T-Mobile hasn't gone across the United States yet. And we are on the Pacific side of the country, not necessarily the eastern side of the country, and fiber optics started being introduced on the eastern side of the country. So we're going to see if we're in a fiber optic area. So hopefully we can get some fiber optics set up so that hopefully we can get 2,000 megabytes per second instead of 300 megabytes per second. And that 2,000 megabytes per second should be able to help us mainstream 4G high definition 1080 just extremely well visual quality, in addition to no lag, no drop frames, and no interrupted live stream. That's our main objective. Beyond that point, we're gonna be dancing in roses. Be that as it may, I also got a new product earlier this weekend. It was a box wine container where you put the box wine in there. It keeps the wine fresh and contained, and allows you to be able to store it in the fridge if you want to keep your wine chill. But it also gives you the ability to have fresh wine, fresh out of the box, in a, it's like a 3-liter container, which allows you to like turn up whenever you feel like it. If you're one of those people that like to drink on a daily basis, or because they say a glass of wine a day keeps the doctor away. Me myself, I would do it for days like today when I need a stress reliever and I want to go and get me a couple glasses of wine. So we're going to be picking up some wine day after tomorrow. It's going to be coming in, and we're going to demonstrate how the container works. Not necessarily during the live because ATF, but we will definitely be able to have the podcast be able to show the how the device functions in some of the shorts videos that's going to be created about it coming soon. You will be able to see we got a guy that's going to be giving us some gummies. So we're going to be talking about that soon. We got another guy that's supposed to be giving us some CBD gummies. We're going to be talking about those soon. And we actually just did a video about the White Lotus skincare products. So if you are interested in any of the branded content that's coming in through the podcast, where you get it from, how much it costs, just message me about it. You guys can also join the membership and get early access to it. If there's any discounts or promos, any discounts in the promos, those will be available to the members only. The regular links that take you directly to the product are going to be available for you guys. For everyone that's not in a membership that just subscribe to the channel, you guys will be able to get the direct links to those products if you're interested in those products after you see how they work and what to do with them. The rest of you guys, if you guys, because we're towards the end of the season, if you guys are interested in a licensed CPA, we have Joe Mastroino. He is a licensed CPA over 30 years now that is offering a 10% discount on tax advice and tax assistance. And he has saved people as much as $10,000 on any one individual tax return this past year alone. So if you're looking at somebody to aid you with your taxes, definitely contact us, because we have links in some of the tax related videos that we have posted, some of the highlights that we have posted. We have him throughout the channel, but message me if you can't find it, and I'll be able to drop you a link to direct contact with him. And if you mention this and that, he'll give you 10% off of his prices. That way, you guys can save even more money before you save money. Because remember, getting your taxes done is also a tax write-off. So make your money make money for you while you're trying to get business done by professionals, so that you're always in full compliance with the law. Because while we tell you ways to, like Donald Trump said, the system is rigged and you can either rig it in your favor or rig it against you. We tell you ways to get around the situation, but you must do it in the appropriate fashion so that you're not violating any laws, so that you don't have to worry about tax evasion. Because Lil Kim is attractive enough to sit in jail for 5 years for tax evasion, but the rest of us too pretty for that. We ain't trying to get locked up for tax evasion. We're trying to get in there and get it done the way it needs to get done, and move on with our days. So unfortunately, like I said before, this is going to be a really short show today, and I really wish that it was a longer show, but this was the longest, because typically the show starts at 9 Eastern, 8 Central, 5 Pacific. And we teed off a little late because we were getting a lot of the fans in there. I'm a very small podcast, so I don't have a bunch of helpers here to help me get things started. So while I'm getting everybody scheduled, we ran into showtime, and while I'm running into showtime, then we had the internet take a dump at 9:45 Eastern time, and I'm like, no. So then we didn't get it back up until about 30 minutes ago, and then we ran a 30-minute podcast. It looks like it's only counting us at 24 minutes. So it's been the roughest day. I gotta tell you, it's been the roughest day today. But we're going to make it. I did guarantee you guys that we are live 7 days a week, by hook or by crook. Even if we're late, we're going to be here. We try to give you guys an hour after we get here. I only gave you 25 minutes so far. And the only thing I can do right now is talk about what's going to happen after the election to give you guys another 30 minutes of showtime, because I did tell you guys that I'd ride you for at least an hour. But be honest with you, yeah, I I got shafted today. I got shafted today. Uh, um, the only thing that we've noticed is that because Trump got put into office, a lot of the people, such as the people in the Ukraine war, are talking about not doing the war anymore. You got people that are shifting their political powers, working towards peace, working towards capitalism, working towards doing more trades with the United States. So things are starting to open back up. The man hasn't even been put into office yet officially. Once he became elect, a lot of the officials in other countries started changing their tune about America, and they started being more America friendly, where under the Biden administration, they were less America friendly. So the fact that we have a lot less enemies and a lot more trades, we're not getting a bunch of new allies. We're just getting a lot more trades. So more money is able to move around. We'll be able to move more freely as American citizens in other countries, because now all the other countries aren't pissed off at us anymore. So, that actually really good for us. Uh, I'm still waiting to see how the new tax rates are going to affect everybody, because we're not going to have the tax deductions that we used to have back in the day. So we're not going to be able to claim things the way we used to claim things back in the day. And whether or not we're going to get our full refunds back, or if we're going to have to pay taxes coming in the upcoming year, really depends on how we're going to be able to make it if you're not making 100 plus 200 300,000 a year. The rest of the people that are making 200 plus thousand a year, you guys are going to be lovely, because all of the tax breaks are in your favor. I'm telling everybody about investing into stock markets. I got to talk to Brett Owens. His little league games with his son, they should have finished the season up by now. So Brett Owens, who wrote the book How to Retire Off Dividends and Maintain 8% Return, is supposed to be coming to the show also, and talk about stocks and bonds, and talk about how he made this book and all the knowledge that he learned with investing, so that you guys can learn from him with investing. He has a newsletter that we actually have, that if you want the information to that newsletter, it's a free newsletter. You let me know, drop it into the comment section either now or after the show, and we'll be able to connect you with Brett Owens, and then he'll be able to give you all the stuff that you need. And we're all about trying to make money for us, while we talk about how to make ourselves better men, because this is a male bit driven podcast. We got about 85% of our platform is men, and the other 15% of women finally agree with men. Isn't that impressive? So the rest of them don't think so. They don't think so, but it doesn't matter. We talked about gold last time on the show. This coming week, we're going to be talking about different countries that are going to be good places to go invest. We're going to be looking at different economies that have different trade styles. We're going to be talking a lot about money. We're going to be talking about a lot about offshore money, because I mean, why put all your eggs in one basket? If you're making enough money to afford a passport, why not fly to another market and go do business over there? That way it's a business trip and you can write it off on your taxes. It just makes more sense to make money in more places. And especially when you're going to countries that have an incentive to encourage non-local citizens to get that incentive just by meeting those requirements. Those are the countries you want to go to first, because those are the countries, as long as you follow their laws, rules, and regulations, you are able to do business in their country. And based on the laws in the U.S., if you claim that money, you wouldn't even get taxed on it in the United States. Which actually increases your overhead, because, well, it increases your profit margins, but it also gives you the ability to increase your overhead, because you're now dealing with an international business, and that means that you have larger tax breaks with international overheads, which allows you to be able to save more money while you spend more money. And make your money make money for you is one of the best ways to go about building a generational success. You just have to try to make sure that you set up something that can continue to function after you're gone if you're going to leave this legacy to your kids. You got to teach your kids how to run the operation. It's not necessarily teaching them how to maintain, how to build it, just how to keep it alive. And if you're teaching your kids how to keep what you built functioning, your kids should be able to learn how to do it, and even do it as a hobby or as a side job or something like that, because they're going to be benefiting from this residually. When you set up a standalone company that is not required for micromanagement, and all they really have to do is either put extra effort into it expanding, or just monitor it to make sure that the quantity of cash flow they're supposed to get actually happens. That's not that hard to do. You could do whatever you want to do for a living, or don't work at all and chase your dreams, because when you have a second income from your parents and your grandparents, you don't have to get paid a certain quantity of money to live. So that means your dreams are unlimited. The fact that you can be whatever you want to be in life or make enough money to survive. You can't do both. Coming out of poverty, you can either accept being broke and chase your dreams, or you can get you a really good job and potentially not be in the same place that you dreamed of being in. It doesn't necessarily mean that not everybody is going to make it. Some people are going to be able to meet their dreams, but a lot of people are going to finish 4, 6, 8 years of college and come out of college and come to realize I went to college for nothing, because the years of experience on a job has nothing to do with what was taught in the textbooks. And outside of the medical field, there is not much that you can learn in a 4 to 6 year institution that you can't learn from the person that's hiring you, so that you can perform the job effectively. Truth be told, outside of the medical field where you're operating on people, there's not many things that you can't learn on the job that has to be taught in a college in order for you to have a degree or certification, a trade, a certificate of some kind that is required in order for you to get the job. So chasing your dreams by going to college is not always the thing. However, when we remember that the stuff that you learn and the connections that you make from going to college does put you in the right place, that's when you want to go ahead and make it do what it do, because you're going to college to take the money and invest it. You're going to college to network. You're not necessarily going to college to get a piece of paper so that you can use that piece of paper to go work for somebody else. So if you're teaching your kids how to run a business, you have the business. The only thing they need to know how to do is read, write, count, and do research. And they can teach themselves and save 200 grand on an education. I'm just being serious. I want to give a special shout out to you guys over on Twitch. I really appreciate your patience for today, because I know you popped in twice for me. Special shout out to you guys real quick. I seen a lot of you. I updated some of the list, so I got a few of y'all back on here. So I got my Twitch group on blended in with my YouTube group. I was doing like the top 5, but it's not necessarily in numerical order, because it was like 4 o'clock in the morning when I was trying to get all this stuff done. I tell you guys, it is rough, trying to run multiple businesses at the same time and do a podcast. It is rough, but I am determined beyond determinedness in order to meet my own personal goals of podcasting every night, regardless of what happens, and try to give you close to an hour. But I don't really think I'm going to give you an hour today. I think I'm going to wrap it up now, because I want to make things better for tomorrow. So now I got to call T-Mobile, spend an hour on the phone with them so that they can reboot my system, so that I can have better internet connection for tomorrow. I'm going to have to reboot the system one more time before the show tomorrow. And I have to schedule all the rest of the guys that I want to schedule this weekend, as well as set up the shows for next week and make sure that I have all the scripts for next week, so that we're not going to be dealing with the catastrophe that we had today. But the show must go on. So small podcast. This is going to be one of those learning curves where, when I have a million followers, I can reminisce back in the day when I had that one time that the internet took a dump 15 minutes into the podcast. And it took 45 minutes to get back on the air. I just got to make it do what it do. And then what do I do about the first time I tried to air the podcast? Well, I archive it because I should have gotten some revenue from it. So archive it, let it sit there until the end of the billing cycle, then dump it. So I'm probably going to have to archive the first time I tried to air the show today, archive it for like 30 to 60 days, and then dump it. But what else can I do? Because, it is what it is. With that being said, I really appreciate you guys for coming to This and That. Make sure that you check in tomorrow. Regardless of what happens, swing by. I'm going to be here. Hover if you got to. I'm going to be here, guaranteed, every night. So it's supposed to start at 9 Eastern, 8 Central, 5 Pacific, but sometimes we're a few minutes late because of this internet problem. If you swing through on time and you just kind of hover a little bit, it'll pop up for you. And then, real quick, before I go anywhere else, apparently one of the guys that's going to be coming to the show is going to be making us 3 tracks, 3 songs, and they're going to be putting it on a CD that they're going to be selling. And I'm going to see if I can get at least one of those tracks that I can use, if not 2 of those tracks, where I can use at least one of them for the opener and one of them for the closer of the show. So going forward, we may actually have a 3 to 5 minute opening video and a 3 to 5 minute close video that's going to show the person's product, in addition to the live podcast, which might give you a hefty tune to jam to like 5 or 10 minutes before the show starts, which will kind of give you the encouragement, because you'll know that we're here. We're just getting ready. And then, oh yeah, I did tell you guys I'm supposed to make that commercial. So I'm going to make that commercial. I did tell you I was going to make that commercial. I got to make that commercial. And actually the commercial is going to be for the members only memorabilia. So I'll make that commercial. That way, when we have situations where we need to segue to commercial, we can segue to commercial. Some kind of way, this situation is going to start looking professional. I promise you. I promise you. Either way it goes, you live and learn, and then you just got to do better. Beyond that, I really appreciate you guys coming to the podcast tonight. I really appreciate your support. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for choosing This and That. I'm going to tell you one more time so you don't forget it, that I'm your host, Xander. Make sure that you guys check us 9 Eastern, 8 Central, 5 Pacific, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. And you guys have a great night. Thank you very much.